Hello and welcome back to my channel and another episode of my Sims 2 Uberhood. So today we're here with the Dreamer household, but we're also going to spend a bit of time with the Goth household again this episode because Darren Dreamer here did get engaged to Cassandra Goth last episode, and I wanted to hold off on their wedding because there was so much else going on last episode that I thought it would be nice to start the new episode with their wedding. And because of course the Goth household already has a wedding arch on their lot and a buffet table and all of that all set up, while this is the Dreamer episode, we're actually going to go and do his wedding on the Goth lot first of all, get them married, and then we'll come back here on the Dreamer lot without Cassandra because it's currently like Sunday or something on the Goth lot, so we're going to play through the Dreamers week before Cassandra and then move her in on Sunday. Just to complicate things even further, Dirk is going to age up in the next few days, so if he doesn't go to university we'll play them through till the end of the week, but if he does go to university then we'll pause it then and Cassandra actually won't move in this episode at all, so I don't know what's going to happen yet. It's a little bit convoluted. Hopefully it'll make sense as the episode goes on. And once the wedding is over and we come back to this lot, we'll set Darren up with a secondary aspiration, all of that stuff as well. So first off, let's head over to the Goth household and get this wedding underway. So we're going to come and have Cassandra throw a wedding party. I've put together a little guest list of both Cassandra and Darren's friends and family and spouses and everything. And what we're going to do is we're going to have Cassandra invite as many people as she knows to the wedding officially, and then we're going to teleport everybody else. Having made and looked at the guest list, I'm a little bit worried, but we'll get to that when they arrive. Okay, so the guest list. I do have it set so that we can have a lot of people because parties of 2 people just seemed a bit sad. So obviously Darren has to come. Can't have a wedding party without the groom. In terms of family, we're going to invite Bella because that is Cassandra's mother. Now, I'm a bit worried about this because Mortimer is still in love with Bella. They are still in love with each other. If you'll remember last episode, I did avoid inviting her to Alexander's birthday party because I didn't want there to be any, accidental cheating going on. However, it feels especially wrong to not invite her to Cassandra's wedding, so she's going to have to be here, and if anything happens, it's going to happen. I'm not going to push it to happen, but I'm not going to micromanage to stop it. I'm just going to play as I normally would. If it happens, it happens. We'll see. So it could be a time. We're going to invite Dirk, although I don't believe Cassandra knows him. Oh, she does. We'll invite Lilith Pleasant as his +1, but she doesn't know Lilith, so we'll teleport her here. Nina, because obviously that's Dina's sister, so that feels like it makes sense. Now, Darren doesn't have any friends other than Cassandra. I know that last episode he brought Matthew Hart over, but apparently they're not actually friends. They don't know each other that well, so we don't need to invite him. Mary Sue, however, is Cassandra's best friend, so we're going to invite Mary Sue. We're actually going to invite the whole Pleasant family, which is going to be a time. We're going to invite Daniel and Angela as well, and we'll invite Dustin even as Angela's +1. Now, of course, in the scripted events episode, Mary Sue did catch Daniel cheating with Kaylin Langerak, and while I don't think they know it yet, Kaylin is actually pregnant with his twins, so they could cause some issues in terms of fighting, and of course Angela and Lilith are both going to be there as well. They could cause some issues with some fighting. And then we're also going to invite Benjamin Baldwin and his wife because Cassandra brought him home from work one day and actually they spent quite a long time together and made friends. They're not like super close, they're not really close like her and Mary Sue are, but they're friends, so it makes sense to invite him and his wife. So those are the people who are on the official guest list, and we'll teleport the rest. Oh, poor Cassandra. She's still angry about Don. Maybe she's feeling a little bit anxious. Maybe she's feeling like a bit of worry that maybe it's going to happen again. She's like, last time I had a wedding day, my fiancé left me at the altar. So maybe she's getting a bit anxious about it. So let's get everybody into their formal wear because the guests are starting to arrive. And then let's teleport the others. All right, so I believe everybody has turned up who I invited. And I've also teleported the extras, the children, the spouses, etc. that Cassandra doesn't technically know yet, but that she probably should. I mean, her and Mary Sue are BFFs. It seems a little bit bizarre that she doesn't even know her husband. So everybody's here. This wedding could definitely go off without a hitch. I mean, hopefully a hitch, but the hitch we're expecting. It could go with no issues, but obviously the twins are going to fight because they hate each other. Daniel and Mary Sue may fight because at the moment they're furious with each other. And the one I'm most worried about is Bella and Mortimer, or even Dina and Mortimer, because I kind of want to leave Mortimer open as an option for Bella. So while, the main issue here is that he could cheat on Dina and get caught, but technically if he does anything with Dina, Bella's also gonna deem that cheating as well, so definitely a lot of potential for issues here. So what we'll do is we'll just allow the guests to mingle a little bit, get to know each other and whatnot. It looks like the twins might be too distracted by their boyfriends to worry about fighting, so that's good news. Oh, and speaking of, Dirk and Lilith have just fallen in love autonomously, so they are head over heels for each other, although not so head over heels that Lilith doesn't also want to beat the shit out of her sister, but that's okay. We do have the radio going, which... Oh. So I didn't actually catch what happened. I don't think anything happened because Dina was playing the piano, but I've got a feeling I do technically have Dina and Mortimer on a date. It was just a want she fulfilled, so I didn't mention it. It didn't seem like a big deal to me, but she wanted to do it, so I was like, why not have them go on a little date while the wedding's going on? But I'm not going to focus on it because it's not the main event here. Now that I think about it, that's probably what happened in terms of the game mechanics. Is Bella saw that he was on a date with another woman, even though they didn't actually do anything romantic. Obviously, that doesn't really make sense from a story perspective, because from a story perspective, Mortimer and Dina are married, and Bella has nothing to do with them anymore. They just were still in love with each other, so it doesn't make sense for her to be angry about that. But I'm imagining perhaps what's actually happened is perhaps she's angry because he didn't invite her to Alexander's birthday party. So perhaps there's a bit of drama there, because if you'll remember last episode, we had Alex's birthday party and I deliberately didn't invite Bella because of this exact reason, because I didn't want anybody to fall out over it. But maybe she's actually unhappy about that. Maybe she's pissed and feels like he's trying to shut her out of her own son's life. So perhaps she's airing some grievances, and yes, it's a cheating memory, and yes, they've now fallen out of love, but perhaps, she's fallen out of love because she realises that actually he's kind of selfish, perhaps. Maybe, she's just so angry with him right now that she doesn't feel like she could possibly love him. But it's always possible when they've recovered from their fury that they'll roll wants to fall in love again and stuff. So it's possible that something will happen between these two, but for now, that is it. Mortimer and Bella are completely done. Although I will say perhaps her daughter's wedding isn't the best place to wear these grievances, but it's fine. She's airing them, and that's that. Now that that little bit of drama is out of the way, I think that's going to be the main drama for the wedding, hopefully. Seems like Mortimer's marriage is going to remain intact because I don't see him and Bella cheating now. So probably worked out for the best, really. But now that that's out of the way, let's have Cassandra and Darren get married. So Darren's already here waiting, bless him, as Cassandra arrives. I suppose that's how traditional weddings go, isn't it? Poor Cassandra, she is worried about getting left at the altar. She's clearly been traumatised by Don. She's so worried that it's going to happen again. I suspect it won't. I don't know if it's possible if a sim's not a romance sim, or if it's only the romance sims who do it. I don't know, but I think it's only romance sims, and Darren is not that. So this should go fine. And Cassandra, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. It's so sweet. They both look so happy. So yeah, let's get them married.
Ibsen.
Oggi.
Uva tavola.
So it says Darren is moving in with 10 simoleons added to the family funds. Darren, you really didn't need to bring them with you, but thank you. So these two are married, everybody's clapping, everything went well. Bella's sat all the way over there. There wasn't enough seats, I should have really thought of that, but it's fine. I don't know who that is. Sandy Fairchild, a gatecrasher, cool. Somebody who I guess was just passing by and got nosy. But hey, maybe we'll make a new friend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave Cassandra and Darren in this house just until the party's over. And then when the party's over, we're going to pause it, move Darren back into the Dreamer household and play them through to Sunday, because it's currently Sunday here with the Goths. And then when it gets to Sunday, we'll move Cassandra out and in with the Dreamers, so that the Dreamers can have their week without Cassandra and all the ages and timings sync up. It looks like we've got a fight over here. Yeah, Angela and Lilith, that's about what I expected. So I've just bought them a little wedding cake, so let's come and have them cut the cake. Unfortunately, Alex is actually going to head to work though, because he doesn't have any vacation days. I definitely would have made him take a vacation, but he doesn't have any days, even though he's actually at level 3. After I stopped recording the last episode, he did get another promotion. So he's at level 3, he's at the top of his career, but he can't take a day off. But I suppose, when you're dealing drugs, people just say they want it and you gotta go, I guess. But he's genuinely going to miss the second half of his sister's wedding in order to go and deal. So his life's turning out brilliant. Anyway, let's go get this cake cut. Nice. And I can see just in the background there out the window, Angela and Lilith going at each other again. Alright, so the wedding party was a success. Everyone had a good time despite all the fighting that broke out. So what we're going to do now, as the party's over, is we're going to have Darren come and move out. Find own place. He's going to take some of the Goth money with him, so him and Dirk will not have to struggle as much throughout the week, which is good. and we're going to leave Cassandra here for the time being. So we're going to move him out on his own, but then when Cassandra comes later, we are going to take Rue the cat with them because it's Cassandra's cat. But for now, we're just going to send him back almost as if we'd never done this. The way time works with The Sims is very weird. I struggle to wrap my head around it, but this is what we're going to do. So everybody's rushing to say goodbye, and off he goes home. Actually, as it's nearly 6 o'clock, I hadn't realised quite how late in the day it had gotten. What I think I'm going to do instead is actually just play through the rest of this day, because I normally finish a rotation at midnight on a Sunday anyway. What I'll do instead is finish out this rotation so that we don't have to come back to them and play this last little bit, and then we'll move Cassandra in at the very beginning of next rotation. I feel like I'm making this way more complicated than it needs to be, but I hope it's making sense. So we are going to have her remain in the Goth household for now, but then she'll move in with Darren before we come back to the Goth household next. And while we're here, I know that this is technically the Dreamer episode and this is the Goth household, but Jack's actually about to age up as well, so we might as well get that out of the way, allow him to become a child, and then he can mingle with the neighbourhood children as well. Given that Cassandra's not actually going to sleep another night here though, I don't even think I'm going to bother getting Jack a bed. I think what we'll do is we'll give him Alex's old beds. Maybe Alex can move into Cassandra's room. We might redecorate a little bit as well though. There we go, I've given Alex a slightly bigger room and I've made a new room for Jack. Jack has had a lot of Alex's and Cassandra's hand-me-downs. He's got Cassandra's bookshelf and Alex's old toys. So I don't think I actually really bought anything new. I just sort of swapped the rooms. I mean, I bought a new bed, of course, but other than that, I don't think I bought anything new. So yeah, Jack's room is a little bit of a mishmash, but that's okay. I never claimed to be a decorator. So let's go ahead and watch him grow up. Alright, so let's give him a makeover first off. Alright, so this is little Jack all made over. I have also enrolled him into private school because it makes sense, as Alex went and assumedly Cassandra did too, that he would go. And I've had Dina donate 20 grand as fees. I figure I'll do 10 grand for teens, 10 grand for children. So obviously for children, it'll be 20 total. And that is it for the tail end of the Goth household. I thought we were just going to do a quick stop in, get the wedding done, and then move straight over to the Dreamers, but some other things cropped up. So it's sort of, I guess, a bit of a merged episode as opposed to just the Dreamers, but we will head on over to the Dreamers now and play through their week. Alright, so back here with the Dreamers in the Dreamer household. Despite everything that's just happened, Darren is in exactly the same position as we left him. I didn't think he would be because he technically has moved out and moved back in again, but he is. So he's got a new wife in tow, although she's not here yet, but like I said, we'll move her in at the beginning of the next rotation so that the rages all stay in sync. I know I can edit the rages in SimPE, but it just feels unfair to give Cassandra basically 2 weeks of skill building, career building, whatever. So even though he's technically married and not living with his wife for the equivalent of 6 years, this is just how I want to do it. What I do want to do before I get into this household is set them up like I would usually do at the beginning of an episode. So I do actually want to give Darren a degree. I know he's not actually in a career right now, but I think maybe he would have the art degree. So we're going to give him an art degree, and I'm going to give him the Paint a Masterpiece Lifetime Want because that seems the most fitting. I do have the 50 extra Lifetime Wants mod. Highly recommend it. It makes it so much more varied because I think a lot of the vanilla ones are just careers. And I'm going to give him a secondary aspiration. So Darren actually has an aspiration token, so I'm not even going to bother with the calculator on him. And his aspiration token is family, which makes sense. So we'll give him that and we'll give him some perks. And that is it. So even though they're not desperate for money anymore, I still consider Darren to be a self-employed painter, so we're still going to have him come and paint for a few hours as part of his day job, although maybe he needs to go and eat something first. But yeah, he does have quite a healthy bank balance now, because even though Cassandra doesn't live here just yet, he did take some of the Goth money when he moved out, so they do have a lot of money, so they're not hurting for money anymore at all. So that means that he'll just have some of the pressure taken off so that he doesn't need to paint to pay the bills, but he can just paint for fun and paint because he loves what he does. Go back to doing it for a passion as opposed to just because he has to. So Dirk is home from school. He was at school when we loaded the household back in. I guess I'd sent him off at the end of the scripted events. And he's got wants to earn some money and earn 100 simoleons, so we're going to have him get a job, even though he doesn't desperately need to anymore. He is a fortune sim, so it's just something that he wants to do. So for that, I am going to use my calculator. So let's go and see what's available today and then see which one best suits him. So we've got music. oceanography, dance, military, and science. So it's actually a real shame that politics wasn't in there, because politics is what he is scoring the highest in the calculator out of all the jobs, and I think he'd be good at it. You know, he's got some charisma skill points, and I think he's got a passion to make things better for people, as well as an interest in money, of course. So I think he'd be good at politics. So unfortunately that wasn't there, and so out of those options, once again, none of which I think are particularly things that I would pick for him normally, but out of those options, he actually scored the highest in dance, which is really interesting. So we're going to have him go down that route. So we're going to have Dirk be an aerobics instructor. He starts today in 11 minutes, so we can just send him straight away. I think we might do that. Alright, so if he goes his first day of work almost immediately, I don't think he'll be getting a promotion because he doesn't have the body skill he needs, but he can earn himself a little bit of money anyway, even though they don't desperately need it anymore. Alright, so Dirk is home from work and a little bit of money, but generally it's been a pretty chill day. In the meantime though, these two are just chilling, playing some video games. It's quite sweet actually. Darren is proper cheering Dirk on. I like to imagine that he's got no idea what's going on, but he's just supportive anyway. So it's a new day, we're just going to have these two get some breakfast, then Dirk's going to head off to school, Darren's going to head upstairs to do some painting. Oh, by the way, I just realised I'd forgotten that I did this, but I'm really glad I did. So as I mentioned a few times before, I'm sort of considering my playthrough of this to be set in England. I'm not saying that I necessarily think it is canon or anything. Clearly canon is probably America, but I want to have this set in England, or like an alternate version of England. And so I downloaded a mod to make everybody have school uniforms, because we do wear school uniforms here. So even the Sims who aren't in private school, like Dirk, they have to wear uniforms to school. To be fair, they're not usually this dapper in real life. I've never seen a school uniform with a waistcoat, but we do tend to have blazers and ties and stuff, so it's not like a million miles away from what my school uniform was. It's just if you take out the waistcoat in the middle, white shirt, tie, black blazer, that's pretty much what my school uniform was. So yeah, everybody's going to be wearing one, because then it just feels a little bit more English. But it did catch me off guard when I saw him get up, because I was like, I'm pretty sure Dirk's not in private school. But he's not, he's in normal school, but they just have uniforms as well. While we are waiting for Dirk to get home from school though, like I said, Darren's come up here and is painting some more, because that is just his normal job, but he does have the want to maximise the creativity skill. So he could sort of kill two birds in one stone. While he's doing his day job, he could also max out that skill. Oh, I wasn't expecting it to be that quick, but that happened almost immediately because he got a eureka moment. So that's done now. So he's now got level 10 in creativity, and he doesn't have a single skill in anything else, which is pretty impressive in my opinion, to have somehow maxed a skill while not achieving a single other skill. What we can say is he's got painting down. He knows how to paint. He can name every painting. Alright, and it looks like Darren's actually finished that painting. So that's going to be for 511. That's not bad. Bearing in mind his lifetime want is to sell 1,000 simoleon one. Yeah, I can't complain about 511. That's over halfway there on his first one. He might actually be one who actually completes his lifetime wants. I wonder who our first sim to do that will be, because as I said in a previous episode, I'm not going to specifically focus on their lifetime wants. I sort of see their lifetime wants as pipe dreams that they may or may not complete. You know, some people manage it, some people don't. Well, most people don't in real life. Most of us have dreams and most of us don't actually achieve them, and that's fine. That's just life. But some people will. And so it'll be interesting to see which Sims sort of naturally achieve it. And Darren, I think, might well be a contender. While we were up there with Darren though, Dirk's gotten home and we've got a notification to say that his grades are actually slipping. They're not that bad. I mean, he's gone down to a B+. I think he had an A. I think all that is his homework. I think yesterday he was too stressed after his first day of school to really focus on his homework, which is understandable. It might be that he prioritises his work over his school, which that's just his priorities. I think he's more interested in just getting on and making some money than he is faffing around with stupid coursework. Anyway, Dirk actually does have work in an hour, but before that he does actually have a want to gain a body skill point, so he's clearly focused on a promotion. So let's buy him a fitness bike and see if we can get that skill in before he actually attends work. Maybe Dirk will have a more balanced set of skills than his dad. He's doing pretty well. I mean, he's already over halfway and it's not even halfway through the hour yet, so I think he'll get it. Maybe he's naturally a bit fitness inclined. Alright, and there he is, he's got it. Alright, so he's about to head off to work again, and he'll probably come home with a promotion this time. Alright, so he is about to come home and he's got himself a promotion. So he's now a backup dancer. So his work hours are the same. He does have slightly different days off though. I think he was supposed to have the day off tomorrow, but instead he's going to have one on Friday instead. And that is fine. However, Dirk does only have 2 days left until he becomes an adult. So tomorrow that'll be one day. So Friday's actually the day that he's got to decide if he wants to go to college or not. And if he does, then obviously we won't send him to work at all that day. We'll pause it and come back to him at the very end of this rotation because I want to move all the teens in together and that's going to take a while. I hope he goes. I think he's ambitious enough to go and he currently wants to go. I'm not going to lock it in just yet, but we'll see how he feels on Friday. But I really hope he goes. I know in my last Uberhood he didn't and I was a bit disappointed, but hopefully he does this time. I can sort of see why his grades were falling though, because it's been over an hour and he's only just over halfway on his homework bar. I don't know what affects it. I know that you can ask for homework help and that makes people do it faster, but I feel like some people get it done in less than an hour and some people like Dirk seem to take like 2 or more hours. So that as well as a job, I imagine it is quite hard. But he is at a B+ at the moment. So I've basically decided what I'm going to do with the teens who go to college. I'm ranking the colleges in terms of how good they are. So Academy Latour is a top school. So that's for those who get A's or A- or pluses. And then Sim State University is the middle one, so that'll be for the B students. So if Dirk keeps it up at the moment, he'll head to Sim State. And then La Fiesta Tech is for the C students. And then I'm going to say the D students can't go. So yeah, if he decides he wants to go, which I'm really hoping he does, then at the moment he's on his way to Sim State. But if he can get that grade up, he could go to Academy Latour, because I feel like that's a fair way to do it. And it also makes it a little bit more varied, because I know some people do it, and I had considered doing it by aspiration, putting like the Fortune and Knowledge Sims in one, and then the Romance Popularity Sims in another, or whatever. But I feel like this way there's a bit more variation, and there's also a little bit more jeopardy in terms of grades, because at the moment grades feel a little bit useless. Although I think they might affect what level job you start in, I'm not sure. But it means that their grades actually mean something. It means that they'll go to a different university. Now, does it actually mean anything to go to Academy Latour over La Fiesta Tech? Probably not, but I suppose they'll either hang out with other kids who are more academic or not, as the case may be. It just feels like a fair way to split it, so that is what I'm going to do. Until then though, these guys have a pretty predictable schedule. They eat breakfast, Darren paints, Dirk gets back from school, and then heads off to work. And that's basically their day. What I will say is that Dirk out here actually did get an A when he got home from school today, although he has come home from work too miserable to do any homework, so he probably won't keep that tomorrow, but we'll see. I also did end up locking in the go to college one, so he's definitely going to go to college tomorrow, because I really do want him to. The main question now is just which college he's going to go to. I imagine it won't be Academy Latour, because I don't think he's going to keep that A, but we can aim for Sim State and aim to get him a B, although at the moment the biggest aim is to not get struck by lightning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Dirk to bed and then we'll whiz through tomorrow, because like I said, they don't tend to do much during the day. Darren just paints, Dirk's at school. There's no point in making you watch all of that. But we'll see what grade he comes out with tomorrow when he gets home from school. I won't go into quite how I'm going to do the university rounds yet, because it's a bit convoluted, I think. I've got so many rules and systems when I play this, and I'm trying to explain what feels relevant or important and let everything else tick on behind the scenes. But we will get to the university households at the very end of the rotation, which will be ages away. Clearly we've got to get through every single household before them, and I'll probably go into more depth about what my plan is with the university students then. But for now, all you need to know is I'll be pausing the household and revisiting it just before we send them all to uni at the end of the rotation. So let's send him to his last day of school and see what final grade he comes out with. Alright, so Dirk is home and we've got a notification to say his grades are slipping. What that actually means though, I'm not sure yet. Oh, a B. That's not too bad. So because he got a B, it looks like Dirk is going to be heading to Sim State University, which is the middle one. So that's still pretty good going. I am going to make them pay university fees as well, but I think I'm going to do about 10,000 simoleons for university. So these guys are going to be more than able to afford it. That's absolutely fine. No worries there. So at this point, what I want to do is send Dirk to university, but I also want him to stay a teenager for the rest of the rotation. So we're going to pause it here, and at the very end of the rotation we'll come back, send Dirk to university as well as whatever other teenagers end up going, and play them through together at the end of the round so they can all go together. And so that is it for the Dreamer household and this episode. I do enjoy the Dreamers, I do enjoy playing. It's definitely a much more chill household, at least at the moment. I imagine when we move Cassandra in next rotation, I'll be very surprised if she and Darren don't have a few kids, and then it's going to get a lot more chaotic. But at the moment, with just Darren and Dirk, it's nice and chill, it's nice and calm, but at the same time, I know it's not the most fast-paced episode, but I do like that some of them are a bit more chill and calm, because that's just like real life. Sometimes it's chaotic and everybody's getting married and popping out babies and setting things on fire, and sometimes they're just living their lives, going to work, going to school, just sort of nicely humming along. And from a player perspective, it makes them a lot easier to play, I'm not going to lie, but from a video perspective, it does mean I obviously cut out a lot of the fluff that you don't need to see. You don't need to see Darren painting for 8 hours a day kind of thing. So yeah, we're going to leave this episode here and come back to them at the end of the rotation. Next episode, we'll be playing with Bella Goth. So if you are here, thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you soon.